So, this that way? Okay, gives you the judge name.
You got me?
Yep.
You sure?
I had prepared a whole bunch of stuff that I was gonna say to the judge if it didn't go the way it did, and it took me quite some time to get all this. Oh, there's nothing on those ones. It's just these two, and took me quite some time to get this down and make it right. And I was gonna address the court at the right time, being that it was set at 3 o'clock, and I ended up joining earlier, around like 2:53, something like that, just to get everything set up. And it just so happened that I got home at 2 o'clock, and I tried to make sure that my computer was working, and nothing was working on my computer. The microphone, the Zoom was working, but I couldn't figure out anything else. So I threw a stick in the spokes. I tried updating the drivers and whatnot, and yeah. So I set up my camera, this camera here that I'm recording on now, and then I got that prepared. And then I still made sure that I was gonna screen record the Zoom hearing on my computer and make sure that it was screen recording on my computer. And hopefully, I was hoping that it would work, and obviously it didn't work when you see in the video. So then I got my phone out, and then I called the Zoom meeting, and it went through and got through to the judge. But if things didn't go the way it did, I feel like he kind of called the case before everybody else, and I'm glad that I went in early. You know, early bird gets the worm. You gotta always remember that. See, so if I haven't gone in early, perhaps in front of everybody else, you know, it would have went a different direction. You know, so this is what I was gonna say to the judge, and I was gonna tell him. And this is if the deputy would have had showed up too, because I was expecting the deputy to be there, and the deputy was the witness. So if the witness doesn't show up, then you ask for dismissal, because there's nobody to go against you. There's no fight. So usually if you don't ask for a dismissal, they'll just continue it to another court date, and then you know the deputy's going to show up that time, you know, of course. So if the deputy was there, this is what I would have had said to the judge. I would have been like, Your Honor, I have a few remedies I'd like to express and a couple questions. And then he would respond, and then I was going to ask, is this hearing being transcribed? Being that, you know, if something doesn't go my way, or, you know, something is out of line judicially, or for me, if I step out of line or something, or if anybody steps out of line, the officer or something, I want to make sure it's transcribed. I'm trying to find a pro se court reporter. You cannot find. I mean, I've called 5 of them, and none of them want to represent pro se litigants, so to say. Which I figure you don't need a license to be a court reporter. I don't think. I might be mistaken, but anyways, I'm going to continue. So I was going to ask the judge, is this hearing being transcribed? And I would have got a response, yes or no. If he would have said yes or no, it wouldn't have made a difference. It's just for the record. And then I would have continued, and I would have said, Your Honor, can I examine the witness, please? And if the officer was there, the judge would have allowed me to, hopefully, with being it is my right to face my accuser and ask them questions. So then if she would have went to the stand, or if she would have testified, I would have asked her, are you Delanius? Are you the officer in question. You know, I don't want to say her name. And then she would have said, or they would have said yes. And then I would have asked, did you issue citation 80HQIE, you know, for the record? And she would have said yes. You know, do you want to get her saying yes, yes, yes? And then I would have asked her, according to the citation you had issued on 07/26/2021 on Immokalee Road in Southwest Health Parkway, you had written that I was in violation of Florida State Statute 316221, something about lights. Is that correct? And you wait for the response. You know, you might have to say it again. According to the citation you had issued on 07/26/2021 on Immokalee Road in Southwest Health Parkway, you had written that I was in violation of Florida State Statute 316221, something about lights. Is that correct? Of course, she would say yes. Again. And then I continue. Okay, so you are pretty familiar with the Florida State Statute 316221, being that you are issuing citations under the provision. Is that correct? And she would answer response, and I even put that in the text just to make sure that I separate everything. And then she would have said yes. She's familiar with the statute, or she would say no. I was kind of like thinking of answers that she would say is that the computer would just spit out like the information for her. She would just like maybe type in tail lights, and then it would just come up, and she would click on it, and then it would just like autofill the citation or whatever. And that would have been okay too, because then it would have just discredited her, you know, because then she wouldn't have known about the citation, and that looks better for me too, you know, either way. And then I was going to say, continue, it says, okay, cool. According to the Florida State Statute Title 23, Chapter 316, Section 221, Clause 3 reads that a violation of this section is punishable as provided in Chapter 318. Is that where you delegate your duties to impose your punishment stated on the citation AD0HQIE? Is that correct? You know, and of course it's fast, and then she might ask me to repeat, or, you know, so you just go ahead and repeat it again. Okay, cool. According to the Florida State Statute, Title 23, Chapter 316, Section 221, Clause 3, reads that a violation of this section is punishable as provided in Chapter 318. Is that where you delegate your duties to impose your punishment stated on the citation AD0HQIE? Is that correct? You know, and it's okay. You can read it right off the script. You make your own script. I wrote this all up on my own. And I have more notes over here. Anybody challenge? Look it up for yourself. And she's going to respond yes or no. You know, it doesn't matter. You just need an answer. You know, you're just interrogating in a way. You know, it's not the punchline yet. Okay, so then now you wait for her answer, and from there she answers, and then I was gonna say again, can you please provide the Florida State Statute, title, chapter, section, and clause, or any law in which you had used as a reference to come up with the amount you issued on the citation into the record, please. You know, I need to punctuate this out more. I mean, I kind of did in a way, but cringy, if you want to say it. That's one of my traits. I gotta get used to it. Everybody will. Can you please provide the Florida State Statute, title, chapter, section, and clause, or any law in which you had used as a reference to come up with the amount you issued on the citation into the record, please. And then she would pull up any city ordinances, county ordinances, Florida state statutes, and federal statutes at that, because I skimmed all the way through every single statute that is on record, and I couldn't find anything about Florida State Statute 316221. So it's Florida State Statute 316.221, and this statute is a taillights. And I looked it up, I read it, and in clause 3 it says that the punishment is governed by chapter 318. And you go into chapter 318 and then you read it in PDF form, and you hit Control F, and then you put in, when it says fine, you put in the little fine box 316.221, and nothing is to be found. You go try this, and I'm putting these people on game right now, because once they find that out, that I'm putting this out, or if somebody finds it, they're gonna make a provision for this. So this is breaking news. Okay, and so now this is the punchline. Your Honor, I pray for this honorable court to dismiss this case with prejudice, for the reason being that there is no supporting statute clearly pertaining to the disputed citation finding of fact, along with there is no statutory authority support, as defined in the Code of Federal Regulations, Title 49, Subtitle A, Part 5, Subpart D, Statute 5.97. You got that? And I stated a federal law. And you got to understand, if they would challenge you, and if you really don't know your stuff, then you will lose the case. So I was prepared to be challenged. And if he would have came up with something, or if somebody came up with something saying that federal state statutes don't apply in state courts, then most people that don't know that federal laws are supreme law of the land, then they would fold. They would have just lost the case and just made themselves look not as credible. So then the judge would have had to favor in the other side, because you have to enumerate your laws that you believe in, that you so find fit, and once you understand your rights, you have to stand on them, and you have to enunciate them into the record. Because if you slip up, you're not stating your rights in a timely manner, if that makes sense, and if I'm making sense with that. And courts will do that to you. They will test you. They will throw random things at you that, if you don't catch it or dodge it in a certain manner, you mess up the whole case. So you got to think of everything, and these are easy. These were easy. By all means, this citation that I just stated was very easy, and I'm glad that I started off with this, and this is something easy. And I'll tell you, the reason why federal law is supreme law of the land is because of case law, and it's in the Constitution. The Constitution is head honcho. Everything is derived from the Constitution. Everything in the law is derived from Constitution. Or case law. And case law and appellate courts are the supreme law of the land. And if you state something that is over something lesser, then the greater one wins. Okay, and I was ready. If that argument wasn't going to work, I was ready to go back with more remedies, as they say, because a remedy in law and in the court is something to give you relief of something that is being done to you, and that, I think, that has something to do with equity. And I got my paperwork mixed up. Okay, so if the judge would have tested me on the federal part, then I would have took it to another step. I would have took it to another level. And this being that I put at the top of here, it says standing authorities of the law. And it says, I wrote this. You know, I took a lot of references from online websites and other people who are very familiar with pro se litigation, and even just lawyers themselves, you know, because lawyers are just everyday people like me and you also. But they just do it every single day, you know, and they get paid for it. So we don't have a license that is held over our head if we don't help the court out. We don't have to fear that we're gonna lose our job, you know, because a lot of these lawyers, they're more helping the court than they are their clients. And if they help the clients out too much in certain counties and certain places, then you're not gonna fend well in your career, you know, because they're more like a gang, you know. It's like the Black Robe Gang, you know. They're all gangs. It's basically like a gang, you know what I'm saying. But anyways, okay, so if the judge would have challenged me with the federal laws, saying that the federal laws don't apply in state court, that's another thing I wanted a transcriber, because if he would have said that into a record, and traffic court isn't the traffic court doesn't hold as much weight as it does in, say, a trial court. So you can get away with a lot more things in a traffic court, especially with the judges and that such. So that's why I wanted to see if there was a transcriber, which it didn't seem like there was. It was just the clerk. So there was no transcriber, but I did have my cameras on, so I would have caught it on camera. And I think that's what also helped me in my dismissals, which I'm very thankful for. I'm glad I didn't have to go and take it that route, because even though I did spend a lot of time preparing for it, but I'm glad that it was dismissed really quickly and nothing had to be done extra. Okay, so I keep beating around the bush. So what I was gonna say is, because at the beginning I said, Your Honor, I have a few remedies I'd like to express in a couple of questions. Okay, so I would have been like, okay, I have another remedy that I would like to try. I have a few questions for clarification's purposes. Okay, so then I would have asked the judge, are you upholding your oath today? I only ask for clarification purposes, because the judge will say yes, of course. They uphold their oath of the Constitution, that they sworn to protect the citizens of the Republic and the Constitution. And I would have said that after, you know, I forgot to put the response. See, you have to know how to do your notes. I should have put response here, because I would have said I ask only for clarifications purposes. So then I would have just jumped right in. I would have said Supremacy Clause, Article 6, Section 1, Clause 2. This Constitution and the laws of the United States which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. Boom. Okay, and then you kind of have to say it in your own words, and it basically means that every ruling that the federal Supreme Court judges had made in previous cases apply to every citizen in the United States. You know, everybody that can enumerate them and bring them to the attention of the court, and it supersedes state statutes and stuff like that, as long as you could enumerate them correctly in a manner. Okay, so I would have told that to the judge also, what I had just said. Now, with that being said, I have a few cases I would like to cite. Thompson versus Smith. The right of a citizen to travel upon the public highways and to transport his property thereon in the ordinary course of life and business is a common right which he has under his right to enjoy life and liberty. To operate an automobile thereon for the usual and ordinary purposes of life and business. Okay? And you continue. Right to travel. State versus Johnson. While every person has the right to travel upon the public highway and transport his property thereon, in view of this rule, a statutory provision that the supervising officials may exempt such persons when the transportation is not on a commercial basis means that they must exempt them. Okay? Also, even if I have said license, and then see, I didn't really prepare this part too well, and I might have fumbled it up a lot if it went this far. But I need to slow down. See, while every person has the right to travel upon the public highway and transport his property thereon, in view of this rule, a statutory provision that the supervising officials may exempt such persons when the transportation is not on a commercial basis means that they must exempt them. Okay. See, I should have went over this before I started reciting them. See, that's when you have to understand, you have to prepare for this stuff, you know, and I'm glad I'm doing this on this kind of camera in front of the worst kind of criticism, even more terrible than courts, which is a YouTube video. Shit. Okay, so once I stated the supremacy clause, that gives me the right to state further case law. But you got to remember inside your mind, well, I have to, and I should have, I don't have to state any more case law after this, because what I stated in the beginning was a federal law, which was Federal Regulations Title 49, Subtitle A, Part 5, Subpart D, Statute 597. That's good standing. That's you cannot go against that. That right there is not in any case law. And if you look up that case law, it says that if you look up that statute, it says that in order for a state to issue a statute or a fine, it has to be derived from a state statute that is very clearly defined and well written to a manner that it's to the point. You know what I'm saying? It's very direct. And in this case, and in my case, there was no statute to be found. So the judge would have had to dismiss it. And that's why I drilled into that statute and the chapters of the state statutes. So, and if that didn't work, if he would have came up with something else, then I would have hit him with the case law, Thompson versus Smith. State versus Johnson, Murdoch versus Pennsylvania, WW Cargill Company versus Minnesota. And then also what I had did was I had signed my driver's license UCC 1-308, which the UCC is a uniform commercial code, and it defines contracts, and driver's license is a contract, and gives the minimal contacts and invisible contracts and such to have jurisdiction over you. And that was another remedy that I wanted to cite in front of the judge, and I did submit my driver's license as evidence with, it says, without prejudice on the signature line, and I would have explained to him that I reserve my rights with that contract, and also I was not commercially driving, and I wouldn't even stated it like that. See, I was traveling on my pursuit of happiness, and there's a lot more, but I feel like I'm already losing a lot of people, or whatever. It's a lot of people probably already cut out, being that I'm so cringy my videos. So this is going to be one of my first videos that I am gonna upload about this kind of stuff, and I got a whole folder, you know. I got everything lined up. I got all the citations. I got the Florida statutes here. I even tried to go into the courthouse and tried to have the clerk dismiss it without any fees, because it says the clerk may dismiss citations. It says if person was cited can show proof of having a valid registration at the time of arrest, the clerk of the court may dismiss the case and may assess a dismissal fee of up to $10. It says may dismiss and may assess a dismissal fee of up to $10. It doesn't say must assess a dismissal fee of $10. It says it may. So I explained that to the clerk, and they said that they have to charge the $10. And I'm said, whose rules is that? Can you show me the policy? And they didn't want to, and I'm not confrontational. I have it on recording, and I'm gonna upload that one too. And I just agreed with it, and I just said, okay, well, I want a hearing. And the lady said it was the Crystal K. Kinzel lady herself, which is on the name of the courthouse and all the paperwork. So I didn't argue with her. But yeah, I got a lot of videos that I've been working on. I got a lot of archives that I'm gonna edit and stuff. So, yep, it's one of my first videos on this stuff, and I want to start getting into more of this law stuff, because I'm very interested in it, and I hope you guys are too, and I hope I can help in some kind of way. So yeah, thanks for watching, and thanks for being here. Peace.